So we're going to start tonight with a message from President-elect, Rotary International President-elect Stephanie Yurchik. It's from a Zoom happy hour, a virtual happy hour that my district governor class had with her. And it leads quite well into the subject for tonight, growing vibrant or having vibrant and growing clubs. And just a quick introduction of Stephanie, because you'll hear more at All Ohio Pets in Columbus in March. But Stephanie's been a Rotary member since 1991. She's been involved in international projects in Vietnam to build a primary school, in the Dominican Republic to install water filters. She studies several Slavic languages and has mentored new Rotarians in the Ukraine and coordinated a foundation grant program in Poland. As you'll hear, she served Rotary in many roles, including as a director, foundation trustee, and she chaired the Rotary International Strategic Planning Committee. And that's what you'll hear her talk about in just a moment. If you heard her speak before, you heard a little bit of this, but I think it really sets the stage well for where we need to go in Rotary International and what our focus will be for next year. So, forgot to share screen. We will hear from Stephanie to start off tonight.
If you were in Rotary, as long as I've been in, you know that we heard the same thing for about 25 years. We have 1.2 million members. We have 1.2 million members. We have 1.2 million members. We have a revolving door. We kept saying the same thing. So Rotary got serious and said, let's grab this issue and let's examine it. And let's create a joint strategic planning committee and really do this thoughtfully. So the joint committee had 3 people appointed by the Board of Trustees and 3 people appointed by Rotary, and then they found somebody to chair it. So I had the great opportunity of being part of that process. And that process involved surveying a lot of people and doing in-depth interviewing and conducting focus groups. And we reached nearly 80,000 people. And by the time we were all done, we had more than 1 million pieces of information. So our job as the committee then was to look at all of this information. And the first thing that happened was an incredible vision statement came out of that material. And you all know it's together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change around the globe, in our communities and in ourselves. Now, the first time that we released that statement, it contained a different phrase. And we sent it around the world to test it in geographies and cultures and languages. And the Asian Rotarians said, absolutely not, because our original statement had something about Rotarians attempt the impossible. And they said, nobody can do the impossible. So we had to go back to the data, and that's how we found the phrase create lasting change. So the second time that we sent it around the world, we got a thumbs up, and it has been well received around the world. And there are a couple of things about that statement that impressed me. The first is the end of it, where it says in ourselves, because for as long as I've been in Rotary, that was the first time that Rotary was acknowledging that when we work on behalf of other people, when we work on a cause, we're not only changing their lives, we're changing our lives. You know, I'm pretty sure that all of you on this call will say that you're a different person today because of what you've done in Rotary. And that was the beauty of that addition to that statement. The other part of the statement that really, really I love is the beginning. It starts with the word together. So for those of you who have heard me and will hear me, we're going to be together in Orlando. You will never hear me say, and this is a quote, my year. I'll never say that because it's our year. It's our year. We are working together. We have 1.4 million Rotarians just like us who love Rotary, and they're around the world doing amazing and wonderful things. And we're going to work together. And we are the ones that are going to help push us into a thriving future. So those two parts of the vision statement really are amazing to me. But that vision statement, that whole process, the vision statement, the priorities that ended up coming out of there, were really reasons that I thought it's going to be my time to seek the presidency, because leadership is about being in the right place at the right time, be the right leader at the right moment. As all of you know, because all of you have been selected, you're exactly where you're supposed to be, because your district said, this is the right person, the right skill set, the right temperament, the right abilities, and this is who we need to lead us. So we're gonna do it together. So I mentioned that the priorities bubbled up from our research, and that's actually the very first priority for me. It's advancing our action plan so that it gets into the clubs so that we can grow membership. Now, let me talk about that statement. Okay, the action plan. I don't know how many of you have looked at it, but you know, it has 4 priorities. It talks about increasing our impact, which means getting better at measurement so that we can tell our story, expanding our reach so that we can create different ways for people to come into the magic of the organization, enhancing engagement so we get better at retaining our members and retaining people who come into Rotary, and then getting better at being flexible and adapting. Those are the priorities. But why those are important is because that's our roadmap. That's what's going to help our clubs move into the future. The strategic plan, the action plan, is not a document to be up on the shelf. It's a living document that we need to get into the club levels. The problem is, I think many clubs are waiting for a cookbook. They're waiting for something from Rotary or from you as governor that says, do this and this and this and this, and everything is going to be okay, and you're going to be fine, and you're going to grow. And it doesn't work that way. The action plan was built recognizing that we have regional adaptability. For instance, Dale, the way you do stuff in Ohio is different than the way we do stuff in Pennsylvania, and the way it's different in Kentucky, and different in Tennessee, and different in Illinois. It's different because Rotary is a group of human beings, and with that comes culture, comes behavior, comes, you know, the way we do things around here. So every club has to look at that and say, how do we use these priorities here where we are? What's going to make sense for us? And when they do that, and they start to look at things, they'll be on the path to move into what I call becoming simply irresistible. Now, you all know you're part of the Irresistible Governors class. You do know that, right? Okay. And that's what we want our clubs to become, irresistible, because when they're irresistible, the people who are already in our clubs are not going to go anywhere. It's going to be really hard for them to leave because they're having too much of a great time serving the world and doing wonderful things. And the people on the outside are going to look in and say, what are you people doing over there? You're having a great time. You know, I think I need to investigate this and come in. So when we're irresistible, our membership issues solve themselves. And why is that critical? You know, well, obviously we've been talking about it for a long time, and finally we're getting serious about it, and I'm glad, because I love Rotary just like you do. But look at me. I don't have 40 years to do Rotary. I don't have 40 years in front of me. But the young people who are coming in, the young professionals, the people who are different, they will. And that's why it's important to me to expand our reach and to engage participants so that there are people. Because think about it, we do wonderful things. We eradicate polio, we empower girls, we put water wells, we do all kinds of fabulous stuff. But if we don't have people to do it, so what? So membership is really critical for me, and it will be on the spotlight, and I will need your help. I will need your help as governors to help get that action plan into your clubs, because that's how we're going to have a future in Rotary. That's how we're going to really go off into the future. I don't want to become JCs. I don't want to be like Kiwanis who are suffering. God love them. They're a great organization, but they're suffering. We're a strong organization and we need to get stronger. So that's why there's such an emphasis for me on membership.
So that was President Stephanie's message. And in case you weren't listening, I got the shirt. So I have my irresistible shirt to represent. And what we're going to do during the remainder of this session is to talk a little bit more about the action plan and how we can use parts of it as appropriate in our clubs to help ourselves grow. And I want to open this with a Paul Harris quote. You've probably seen this one on Facebook if you follow various folks there, but Paul said, "This is a changing world. We must be prepared to change with it. The story of Rotary will have to be written again and again." And I subscribe to that fully. And, here's why. If we look at our membership trends on a global basis, in terms of just Rotarians alone, the 1.4 million that Stephanie talked about included Rotaractors. The chart on the left is just Rotary International alone, Rotarians alone. And you can see there's been a slow decrease in membership, down to 1.15 million members. If you look at our district membership trend, you see a similar trend. Yeah, there's a bigger step with COVID when we went from 1,780 members down to 1,680. And to be honest, we're seeing some very positive signs lately. We're plus, I believe, 15 year to date net membership growth for this year. But that's very slow incremental growth. And that pace is not going to get us back to the 1920 level of 1860 unless we think about doing some things differently. And I wanted to take just a few seconds here for to ask the question, why people join Rotary. And if you could just raise your hand, and I'd like to just ask the question of the group, why people join Rotary. Anyone? Someone?
Well, my thought is that people join to better connect with the community and see a wide variety of service opportunities.
Okay. Any others?
Alan was unmuted. Alan, did you like to comment?
Alan?
Okay. I joined Rotary because I was actually asked to come and went to a meeting and then ended up coming to the next meeting and then the next meeting. I just got totally good vibes about what they were doing within the community and who the people were that were inviting me and spending some time with me. So I think it's been 7 years now and or thereabout, and I'm loving it. So you got to have the right person ask you to come and visit and learn, and it's worked for me.
Kathy Kingsley was next.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, you certainly need to be asked, but also as a part of the, hey, that's me. So as a part of the process, we should make sure that our new members are brought in and educated about what we do, why we do it, and help them find the fit that works for them in the group. So I mean, there's everything from leadership to volunteerism to, I mean, even if it's, I can't do a lot of my time, but I can financially donate, or I can't financially donate, but I have time that I can donate and volunteer. So finding that right spot for new members is going to be the best way to retain new members and hopefully grow.
Thanks. And
Celeste, then Nick have their hands up.
if you're speaking, Celeste, you're muted. Celeste?
I'll
Well,
unmute her.
oh,
Hold on, I'll unmute you, Celeste.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
Sorry about that. I'm not
That's
able to be
okay.
on my computer today. So I joined Rotary, was with Randy being a Rotary for how many years before I ever had the opportunity to join. But my biggest thing about joining Rotary is I want to be able to give back and make a difference. And I think that in our club, we find that the majority of people state that that's really what they want to do as well. So hopefully we can continue to get the message out and continue to grow and retain those members that, or persons that want to be members, getting them involved, making sure that we have the opportunities to get them involved and not constantly just be in meetings. That has really been a spearhead for getting quite a few members. So thanks.
thanks, Celeste. And Nick?
Nick had his note. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I was in an elected official capacity asked to speak at the club several times in the past and got to know a lot of the members of the club and realized that that was a really good thing and a lot of good people, and I enjoyed the interactions I had with them. So they got me to join and, learning more about what the club was doing and how we interact with the community and gave our time to help those in need and other things is why I joined.
Okay, thank you.
And
Well,
Maureen Dolan also
oh,
would like to
sorry,
go.
Maureen.
That's okay.
Oh, I was just saying, I'm in a similar kind of group. It's a women's group called the Western Reserve Junior Service League. And to me, this is so like it in a way. It's about community, giving to the community and making new friendships, and then seeing the world. It's wider than your own community. It really affects the world. I love the way it's local and international at the same time. So it's really draws you in to how you can make a change, everyone working together. So I love it.
Thank you, Maureen. So one thing you guys will learn about me is before I retired, I was an engineer, and I guess I still am. And I was a Six Sigma black belt. So I really am into statistics and data. So back in March, some of you may have got this, but we surveyed the folks who've been members 3 years or less and asked them, we put it in categories, I'll show you in a moment, asked them why they joined Rotary. And here's the result. And number one with a bullet of those newer Rotarians is they joined to serve the community. And number two was fellowship and friendship. And number three was connections, such as Howard mentioned. So, but service with a bullet was the biggest reason people joined. And then I also, when we did that survey, we also asked them why they're staying in Rotary. And we got very similar answers, except as you might expect from some of the things you just said, the fellowship and friendship bar grew, as did the community service a bit. So the friendship and fellowship and the service is what really is driving a lot of these newer members to join our clubs.
I can't connect. This is loud. She always goes, 我啱啱到底嚟染頭髮，佢人打電話嚟，我又聽唔到佢。
He's not.
我而家通車
he's
又
muted.
要呢個又要睇個。
George, you're not muted. You are on my end, but I don't think you are on your end.
All right. So we also took a look at the data and took a look at who's leaving Rotary. And so we took a look at the data for the last 10 years. And so basically, the vast majority of people who are leaving our clubs have been members less than 5 years. Over 50% of them less than 3. If you add in 4 to 5, you can see the rest of the bars on the chart are pretty darn small. And I looked at it by year, and these numbers really haven't shifted. This has been the case throughout. So looking at why people stay and why they join and stay and why they leave, I mean, what does that data suggest to you? Anyone? Yes, Howard.
Well, it seems to me that perhaps they join with, as the previous data suggested, a goal to become more involved in service projects. And maybe the fact that the ones that are leaving after just a very short tenure, maybe we haven't grabbed them quickly enough and gotten them involved as deeply as they would like to be. So maybe they think, well, it's not what I thought, it's not what I came for. And maybe that's why we lose them.
Yeah, that's, to me, that's the key message here. And so I also stole this from Facebook, but you know, for those who have stayed, they joined Rotary to make a difference, and they stayed because they are. And I think that resonates with a lot of what you've already said this evening. So if we want to, come on, screen advance. There, oh, of course it advanced about 3 slides at a time. Sorry. Huh. So,
Sorry, Dean wanted to make a comment also.
oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dean.
I really didn't have anything new to add. The previous speaker covered what I was going to say.
Okay. All right. So, if we're going to make a change in our membership trend and reverse it and hopefully accelerate our growth, it's going to take intentional and engaging leadership. As Stephanie said, it's our year, it's our club's year, it's not my year. And so, you know, we need to take a look at reimagining Rotary and pursuing that vision with our members, and take the time with them to get people to yes. As I said a moment ago, it is their club, and listen and be fluid with their suggestions. And yes, John, I'm sorry.
Not everyone wants to love Rotary. Some people might just want to like Rotary. And if we oversell that you have to be over the top, those are the people I might guess are the ones who leave.
Okay. Thank you. So, as you're leading your club and trying to reverse the trend, you know, we need to listen to them and be fluid. So as John alluded to, we need to take their needs and their interests into account, so that they enjoy and are engaged in the experience. We need to communicate a lot, and communication today is changing. Some people use text, some don't read email. But so that's why I put communicate 3 times, because sometimes it's just getting to that one-to-one communication that is key. And when we're doing this, when we're leading, we need to encourage our members to be open to change, to better serve our communities, and to provide new paths to service and fellowship for ourselves as Rotarians, and for those in our community who don't quite know the Rotarians yet, but want to make our communities and our world a better place. To grow is also going to require clear membership goals and a growth plan. If we want to grow, we need to make it a top priority. You need an active membership committee. This isn't something one person can take on their own. You need help. And keep in mind that retention is as important as attraction. We lose on average 15% of our members every year. And so that means that in order to grow, we need to retain or to gain 15% plus 1, right? So retaining those members that are leaking is just as important as that attraction aspect. So we need to ensure that we engage our club members, and we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. I implore you to develop a plan, and keep in mind that our net membership is a trailing metric. That is how your net membership is going to grow, is going to be determined by the actions that you take. So I suggest that you manage leading metrics like the number of service projects, the number of community events, your social media activity, involvement with partners that we'll talk about in a moment. And I also ask that you track your progress regularly and adjust, because no plan occurs the way is carried out the way we plan it. Things happen and we need to make adjustments. And tracking progress is the way in which we can do that. Stephanie talked about our action plan, and this is a graphic from the website. But there are 4 parts of it. Increase our impact, expand our reach, increase participant engagement, and increase our ability to adapt. And in the next few slides, I'm going to talk about each one of those and how I think we can best apply those to our clubs. So increasing our impact is our first aspect to it. And for goodness sake, don't get rid of any signature projects, and maintain our traditions. The traditions that we have in Rotary are the things that made us great, but consider adding to them. If we're not meeting the needs of our new members in our service today, we need to offer them some more frequent opportunities to serve. And these don't have to be big things where we have to raise money. It can be, or most likely we'll be partnering with other communities or other organizations in your communities, like a food bank, such as the Cleveland Club does, or with a shelter, painting a room in a shelter, or cleaning up a beach or a park. Fairly simple service opportunities, but if we can provide them frequently to give those folks more opportunities to serve their community. And we need to consider measuring our impact and not just saying we did a project, but let's talk about the number of people that were affected and how they were affected. Things like dictionaries delivered, lives saved, books purchased, dollars invested, actions taken, cases averted, things like that. Take, for example, Polio Plus. Yesterday was World Polio Day. It's one thing to say that Rotary is working towards ending polio worldwide, eradicating it. We made the promise to the children of the world, and we're going to keep it. It's another to say that we vaccinated nearly 4 billion children with our partners since the project started. And there are 20 million children today who are walking who would otherwise be paralyzed. I think those metrics really add to the story and really add impact to the story and are important. You need an active, sustained local public image strategy so that your community is seeing you as part of the community and seeing what you're doing in your community. And you can find some good help on this at our website. And we'll be talking more about public image a bit later in January, but actually I wanted to click right here, and this is the toolkit that we have on our website. This is at rotarydistrict6630.org, and you can find this under the member resources. And you can see here there are links to the Rotary Brand Center, tips on how to promote an event, a press release template, public relations basics. Here, contacts within our district for help. A great
Bill, I did put the link in the chat for everyone
Yes.
too.
Thank you. And top 10 public image best practices. So there's some really good help right here from our district. And I also want to point out this Ohio media list. I believe it has over 130 contacts in local media, conventional and digital media, so that you can reach the media within your community. So this website can be a big help. And then, of course, when you're out in the community and serving, wear Rotary gear and make that brand visible. The second aspect of the action plan is to expand our reach. And I think the best way to start doing that is to develop relationships with those who share a desire for service and fellowship. As you get involved in your community, you often know who those people are. So if we can find out, first of all, how we can help them and increase their service, and also invite them to join us. By partnering together, we can increase our impact, expand our reach in the community. And again, as I said before, have many service events. Consider partnering with other organizations, the Chamber of Commerce, a local leadership group, United Way agencies, the United Way itself, even the Lions and Kiwanis, because we're not competition anymore. There are too few of us doing this type of thing in the community. And by the way, I believe it's the first week in September every year. The goal is for all of us, Lions, Kiwanis, Optimist Club, to work together to serve our communities during that week. So they need to be our partners, as do schools. Other examples are community leaders, Habitat for Humanity. I'm sure you can come up with many, many more potential partners who will help us not only serve and publicize what we do, but they'll also provide us for new opportunities to serve and to help our communities. And when we're doing this, keep new and potential members in mind. What do they want to do? What are their interests? And what does the community need? We don't want to just drill a water well because somebody said, okay. We want to be something that is needed and is sustainable in the community. Again, wear your Rotary gear. And as always, social media has been a key to growth today. Local media, local press is becoming less impactful. So connect with community pages, join community pages so that you can communicate with non-Rotarians. Non-Rotarians aren't seeing our club Facebook pages unless we happen to share it with our network. It's not popping up, but if you go to a community page and publicize an upcoming service event that folks could come out and help you with, that's a way to gain potential members. And follow other organizations in the community like the chamber, your schools, etc. And when you serve together, link to one another's Facebook page. And lastly, share what you're doing on your club website or Facebook page and LinkedIn. I keep forgetting other social media. Sorry, do them all. And also share it to the community pages. Share your good work there so others in the community see what you're doing. The next aspect of the action plan is enhancing participant engagement. And sorry, I've got 2 slides on this, but the first is for experienced members. And some of this is probably obvious, but have friendly, fun, and inclusive meetings and events. Make sure people are engaged and having a good time. Have strong meeting programs. Have interesting speakers. Engage members in your community projects, meetings, and socials. Make sure that they're events that people like to do. Recognize the efforts of Rotarians in your club, even when they're small. Recognize them and make sure that their work has been noticed. And match your club service to the interests of the club. Again, make sure that what you're serving is where your club wants to serve. And make fellowship a priority. Have frequent social events, even if they're just pop-up events where, hey, we're going to go to Scooters for a hot dog on Sunday. Just get them out there. Also consider inviting and welcoming family and friends and having more family-friendly events so that the whole families can be involved with Rotary. And most importantly, to summarize all of that, have fun. Make it fun for yourself and for your members. Then the second slide on participant engagement is for prospective and new members. And as I alluded to before, invite common travelers, invite people in your community and in your network who you know have a heart for service or an interest in service, and invite them to serve with us and join with us. And when they do, welcome them and acquaint them with what the heck is going on in this meeting. What's this bell mean? What's this 4-way test thing? What's this Rotobuck? What's a happy dollar? Explain to them what those things are and why we do them and when we have the program. You know, we show up at noon and we don't start a program till 12:20. Well, we like to socialize and see what's happening with folks before we have the business meeting. Include informal fellowship events for those prospective and new members like happy hours, coffee, or fireside chat. And keep those light. You know, I made the mistake when I was in the Cambridge Club of holding a fireside chat for prospective members. And I asked each of our committee chairs to stand up and talk about what they do. And I bored the snot out of those poor people. That was a horrendous meeting. I learned a good lesson there. the idea is to lightly engage them in Rotary and get them interested in coming to a meeting and serving with us, and to catch on to the social and the fellowship aspect of Rotary. And once folks join, survey them, and this could be formal or informal, but find out what they want from their membership experience, and then work to meet their expectations. If they have an interest in a service area that the club doesn't do, maybe you ask them to lead a project in that area or to lead an event. And then, as someone I think said earlier, when you have a new member, find a host. I don't like to use the word member because I think the host conveys a different message. You want to introduce that person to the club. You want to explain to them why we're doing what we're doing, what Bread Day is about. Oh, that's a fundraiser for bone marrow registry. Or you also don't want a new member standing in a corner with their spouse partner while everyone else is socializing. That host hopefully will bring them in and introduce them to other people and get them engaged with the rest of the members. And most importantly, engage them. They were motivated to join. If you remember, when you joined Rotary, you probably had a lot of energy and a lot of interest in doing something with the club. Tap into that. Don't allow that energy to wane. Take advantage of it. Get them involved quickly. Don't let them sit on the back bench. And the next part, we're going to talk about increasing our ability to adapt. And to introduce that, we're going to start with this.
As Rotary, we often ask ourselves, how do we grow, personally, professionally, and organizationally? The answer is simple. To grow Rotary, we need more Rotary clubs. Let's use Anytown as an example. Anytown is a city of 100,000 people and home to one proud Rotary club. But there are hundreds of other people of action, just like us, who are uniquely qualified to become Rotary members. They share the same drive and represent the values and fundamentals of a Rotary member. So why aren't they members? Well, the current club meets on Monday. There are leaders in Anytown who can't meet on a Monday. By excluding this segment, the potential members in Anytown has shrunk. Now consider, what if the meeting is at noon on Monday? There are people who can meet on Monday, but can't meet at noon. So now we have a smaller audience for Rotary in Anytown. Of the remaining group, some aren't interested in a club with a sit-down lunch and speakers. They are passionate about service, but aren't interested in a traditional club experience. And that is okay. The Rotary Club of Anytown isn't doing anything wrong. It just doesn't appeal to particular segments of the community. And if we're going to thrive for years to come, we must adapt and embrace change. In Anytown, we have an opportunity to expand because potential members are everywhere. More than half of the eligible people are prospective Rotary members, waiting to make a bigger impact in their community. But what Rotary Club exists for them? If Anytown creates new clubs at new times and new places, the hidden potential for Rotary will be revealed. As people of action, we must broaden our reach and provide opportunities to all leaders in the community. Together, all of us can grow Rotary. As Rotary, we often ask ourselves, how do we grow, personally, professionally?
So every time I've rehearsed, that's happened. The video started a second time when I click advance. So sorry about that. But as I said, the last element of the action plan is increasing our ability to adapt. And with COVID, we saw a lot of that, obviously. I was a president in 1920 in the Mentor Club, and like everyone else then, COVID hit in March, and like I believe most of the rest of you, we were meeting again by Zoom in April. So we showed we have the ability to adapt, and so that's led to some flexible meeting options, such as the being virtual or in person or having hybrid. Your meeting frequency can also be broken up. And it's important to note that today Rotary only requires that a club have 2 events monthly to be considered a club. And that can be any combination of a meeting, a service project, or a social. Now, I'll be honest with you, I love my every Thursday meeting, and I don't want to see my weekly meeting go away. But for some, that's too much. And maybe a less frequent meeting schedule or mixing up meetings and service and social would work better. And we could accomplish that through a satellite club, which I'll come to in a moment. But you may not be aware, but today there are also cause-based clubs. There are a number on LGBTQA issues. There are veterans cause-based clubs that support veterans. There are ones that support literacy. I would like to see one that supports STEAM education for all. I haven't seen that yet, but it's one I've been trying to push here in Lake County. There's also Rotaract. You may not know it, but we have a new Rotaract club that was chartered in August, and it's geared towards young professionals starting out in their career. They already have monthly service projects planned through the winter. And they're very interested in service, but then they're going to have programs on things like how to buy a house, how to start a retirement, things that are important to folks just starting out in their career. But Rotaract's also university based, and there are a number of universities in our area that could support a Rotaract club potentially. I know, I believe we're talking maybe at Lake Erie College for one. Kent looks like it might be restarted, and we have one at Baldwin Wallace and potentially at Akron. So Rotaract in universities is also potential. And then lastly, satellite clubs. Celeste was in the E-Club, which was a satellite club originally and was just chartered this summer as a full Rotary club. But a satellite club is a branch of the Legacy Club that meets at a different place or time and or format. In Lake County, we have a satellite club that meets in the morning. It's the only Rotary club in Lake County that meets in the morning. So that was seen as a need, so we started it. Satellite clubs can also have different dues structures. If you're not buying lunch, then you don't need to charge for lunch in advance, or however you may structure your dues. So there could be some different dues structures that could make it more affordable in that way. And lastly, satellite clubs only need 8 members to charter versus 20 for a full-fledged Rotary club. So that's another way in which we've reduced our barrier to entry for a club. The next item I want to talk about is a new concept, and that's an impact club. And kind of as the video said, for some people, meetings are not their jam. They have business or family obligations, young families with a lot of kids in sports, whatever, but they can't meet, or maybe they just don't want to attend a weekly meeting, but they still want to serve their community and they want to be a Rotarian. And it could start as a membership type, but most frequently these move to a satellite club type structure. But they pay dues and they're invited and welcome to attend our club meetings and socials, but they're not really expected to be there. But they do serve the community at least monthly or more frequently. And that's what they're there for. And they take part in the Legacy Club service projects as well. So again, it's a way to get people who want to serve the community but don't want to take part in Rotary. And a thing that's common in those is that there's a monthly social get-together in which we also do some lighthearted or casual discussion of Rotary and Rotary orientation, so that we might discuss the foundation or Polio Plus or the 4-way test with them. And what's expected is, as those folks progress in their career with their family, that they'll move to the Legacy Club as they discover the friendship and fellowship that's there. The West Plano, Texas Club was the fastest growing club in Rotary in, I believe it was 1920. And the way in which they grew was by forming a community corps, which is nothing more than a couple of Rotarians who publicize an opportunity to serve their community through social media and the press. And they did that on a bi-weekly basis. And over time, the folks who came out and helped them with their projects became Rotary members, and that club grew 300% in 1 year. They tripled their size in 1 year through the community core. So the Impact Club is a little faster way of getting them there by having them be Rotary members rather than just random community core, so that we have the contact information and links to them to get them there. And marketing to that target demographic is the key to growth. If folks don't know that potential exists with Rotary, then they're not going to explore it. So I wanted to show you the, this is the Impact Club of McMurray Rotary. And this is Rotary International President-elect Stephanie's club. This is the only Impact Club in Pennsylvania. But this just gives you a flavor for what they do. And it's basically, it's hands-on service focused membership option for prospective members, and they have the same dues structure as others. And they went, if I recall, the club went from 24 to 58 members overnight by forming this Impact Club. And it's been very successful, and it's a satellite of the McMurray Rotary Impact Club, or the McMurray Rotary Legacy Club. And by the way, the membership committee and our district leadership would like to start some of these, and well, we wouldn't start them. We'd be asking our clubs to. And what we'd like to do is find a handful of clubs who want to give this a try. And we would form a, for lack of a better term, a support group where we would get together on a regular basis and share learnings and best practices or not. And, you know, what we've learned with one another so we can help it grow. And I will tell you, the Lake County Sunrise Club is going in this direction. We had a planning meeting this morning, and they're going to try to become an Impact Club in Lake County. Next steps for you. I ask you to decide whether you want to continue as is and maybe have incremental growth as we've seen, or do we want to drastically increase our service to our communities in the world by growing our Rotary organization much faster than we have. So to do so, you need to develop a plan with the key leaders and members of your club. I suggest many social and service events to support that, as we've seen from our data. You'll need an active public image and community visibility campaign, develop more partnerships in the community. You'll need to intentionally engage your new and experienced members, and reimagine Rotary. What makes sense for your club? You know, maybe a satellite club, maybe an Impact Club, maybe something completely different, or maybe not at all. But what makes sense to you, as Stephanie said. And I should add at this point, the 5 items that were here listed here were also proven. Zones 28 and 29, which is the eastern half part of the US, just to the east of us, did a survey of the clubs that have grown by a net 5 members or more over a 2-year period during COVID. And the thing that they found common in those clubs that grew were these 5 things right here: that they had many service opportunities, that they had active public image, that they had partnerships, they intentionally engaged their members, and they reimagined what they did. Need to lead to the plan, take risks, and adjust and adapt. And keep in mind that taking a risk in Rotary is not like taking a risk in business. You're not going to lose money. You're not going to lose your business. Worst case is that you're going to acquaint someone with Rotary who's not heard of Rotary before. So take some risks, try some stuff. And for resources, I'm always available, as well as the District 6630 Membership Committee, and their contact information is on our website. And when I reviewed this with our membership committee, it was pointed out some might see all this and go, gee, now I don't know where to start. So I put together a couple of example plans, and I'm not going to go through them. I'll be distributing this, but you know, this is a traditional incremental plan where you kind of brainstorm who you need in the community, or who you're missing in your club from your community, and then you try to go get them and invite them to meetings. And again, as Stephanie said, this is an example. It's not a recipe. you need to determine what works for your club. I would never tell you what'll work for your club. You need to determine that. Each club is different. And a second quick example is number 2, taking a look at using the action plan. So establish your membership committee, brainstorm those community partners, meet with them to establish those partnerships, develop those regular service and community events, use social media, etc., and carry out those events and distribute information on Rotary to get them involved. And then determine the expectations of the new members and what do they want from Rotary, those potential new members who are serving with you. Are they available to meet with your legacy club? Would a satellite club that meets for breakfast or a different time make more sense for them? Or do they not want to go to a meeting at all, but they just want to serve? So, and follow up with them and meet expectations. And again, this is an example. This is not a recipe for your club. And with that, we close with Paul again, stating the quote again, that this is a changing world. We must be prepared to change with it, and we need to rewrite the story of Rotary again and again. So at that, I will open it up for any questions that you might have or comments. No one? All right. Well, if there
So,
aren't,
well,
any-
this
Sorry,
is
go ahead,
Kathy.
Kathy.
Oh, hi, sorry. So one of the things that jogging my thoughts as we're talking about this and getting and retaining and what do Rotarian and especially new members want to get out. I know different things we can do to engage our new members and even have like assign somebody within the club to sit with them, but also we don't get that many new members on a regular basis. Even reaching out and having a breakfast or a lunch with a new member and just having a conversation. What do you want to get out of this? What do you like? What do you not like? What are your busy times? What are your quiet times? But just getting a better understanding of new members to help them best engage and direct them on where to go and how to do it. I think that's something that I will take away.
Yeah, 100%. And it needs to be more than just you and your membership chair. It needs to be more members of your club who really engage that new member. Well, if there's, yes, Alan.
Okay, there we go. Something I kind of take from your your vision here, Dale, and he didn't really kind of touch on this too much, but you know, once a new member comes in, and we've had this happen recently, that they actually, when you find somebody that, you know, fits in the club and right away, you know, if you're a smaller club, you might have, 10, 15, 20, 25 members or whatever like that. And you're looking for leadership people, and a new person may come in and, you know, that person could be a good secretary, let's get that person involved in that right away. And sometimes that can backfire where it's too fast and it's too much for them to take on at one point. And I don't know if anybody else has experienced that, but we did. And we all just took a deep breath back and got someone else to take on that position. But it was just overwhelming and too quick. And that's what I'm, worried about, is that when you bring in new members, oh God, it's new blood. Let's get them actively involved in the leadership portion of the club, and sometimes that can backfire.
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily suggesting that. I mean, if
Right.
someone wants to go for that and they're ready for it, and that's what they want to, shoot for, fine. But to me, it's more getting them involved in the fellowship and the service aspects. Where I'm coming from is, I belong to 5 different Rotary clubs. I transitioned because I moved a lot with work, and I'll be honest. I'll tell tales on my own club. When I joined the Mentor Club, and my wife and I went to our first social events. And keep in mind, this is my 5th club as a Rotarian. I'm naturally an introvert, and so is my wife. So we're kind of off there by ourselves, and no one was talking with us. And then a gentleman did, and I mean, he really took me under his wing. And even though I was an experienced Rotarian and a past president, I really needed that to become engaged in that club. And it's those kind of things. When I envision that host, I envision that guy just coming over, talk to my wife and I, and then explaining to me what the heck bread day is. I didn't know what that was. And I was in another club for 2 years before I understood what one of their service projects was, because I didn't ask, and I was busy. And then once I got it, I loved it and I took part. So that's when I'm talking about engaging those new members and involving them. It's putting them to work, not necessarily as leaders, but meeting their expectations of membership. And we did record this, and I will be sending out the PowerPoint, which has the active links. And if no one else has questions, I'll let you go because it's 6:59 and I want to stand by my word to keep it to an hour or less. And I thank you all very much. And the next one will be November 8th is going to be on the foundation. You should have a registration link for that already in previous emails. Many of you I know have already registered. I look forward to seeing you all there, and also seeing you at our last 2 Pints to End Polio in Concord tomorrow night, and in Kent, I can't remember the name of the location, on the 9th of November. If you can make it, we'll see you there. Thank you all.